Hello, today we are going to create ephemeral development environments using the nix-shell. So the Nix package manager and Nix operating system. This is the wiki page, Elko Dolstra 2003, a declarative way of specifying dependencies between packages and files and the source code build recipes, Nix language. nix-OS, the official website. And then the GitHub repository is github.com/nix-os/nix. In here in the README, we can see that installation instructions and beginner tutorials are available at nix.dev. Let's go there. First of all, we want to install Nix. Nix, the package manager. So always look at the difference between the full operating system, which is nix-OS, versus Nix, which is the package manager. The package manager can be installed on any Linux operating system, whereas nix-OS is its own operating system. So we are on Ubuntu 24.04. The recommended way of installing is using a multi-user installation with this curl sh. So curl install from nixos.org/nix, and then it pipes it through Ubuntu's default sh, which is dash. Says that curl is not found. Let's install it. We're going to install it from Ubuntu packages, deb packages, so sudo apt install curl. Try again. So we're downloading the file, install.sh. /nix /nix/store, a very important concept in Nix. So Nix has its own glossary, where store is the place where the cached packages, as it were, are stored. So I should restart things. It's probably better if I just restart the computer just in case. I have restarted the computer. Hopefully Nix, the package manager, has been installed successfully. We should check that by using this command line. So nix ---- version. And it worked. Next up, let's study nix-shell, which is this thing. First up, let's look at this tutorial where it says reproducible development environment. So by development environment, you mean a shell, a terminal, and inside that you have your favorite development command line utilities, such as, I don't know, Git, the Docker, the Kubernetes tools, the AWS, Azure tools, the your favorite text user interface editors, etc. And when you finish working for the day or for this stage of your development work, you can just destroy that environment, for instance, by just exiting the terminal. So reproducible development environments. We're going to use nix-shell. So c6 is a Unix minimal executable that shows a ASCII art. Not installed by default on Ubuntu 24.04. And then lolcat similar executable also does not exist, but can be installed from deb packages from Ubuntu. We're not going to install them neither from deb packages from Ubuntu 24.04 nor from the Snap Store. We're going to use nix-shell for that. And as parameter to nix-shell, we're going to provide a list of packages or a list of packages for the Nix package manager that will be installed and made available into the new REPL. Read, evaluate, print loop. The packages have not been downloaded yet, c6 and lolcat and all of their dependencies, such as Perl 5.40, findutils, coreutils, etc. All of these packages are going to be downloaded and cached into /nix/store. And then there's the content addressable name. The content of the package, a checksum is made on top of it, a cryptographic checksum. And then that is being used to create the name of the directory where the package is stored. Okay, so let's see what it did. We were in the default Ubuntu 24.04 command line shell, which is bash, up until this moment in the home directory. Then we issue the command nix-shell and a list of nix packages. A new shell has started, a new REPL read, evaluate, print loop, which has a different prompt. I don't know what this thing is. Might be bash by looking at the fact that it has the straight brackets. Let's see. Let's go PS3. So I have run PS3. There's a nix daemon, which is a top-level process, which is this guy, which is child of the process with the process ID 1, which is systemd, the init system. And then we have, I have grepped for bash, and it says that there's a process gnome-terminal, which is this graphical user interface application, that has as child process bash, which is the shell that we have started the nix-shell process from. So this thing is the first bash. And then a second bash, which is this thing. And then inside we have run grep, which is true. The grep is this one. So GNOME terminal and then two bashes on the same line, which is this one. So children of process ID 1 systemd. There's a per user systemd for the current graphical user interface session with the GNOME shell. And then in there we have a GNOME terminal. Inside this process we have, or GNOME terminal has started automatically bash, and then we have manually started bash inside. So this bash comes from the Nix package manager and nix-shell. This bash is the default graphical user interface shell, the default shell for interactive users in Ubuntu 24.04. Okay, so the nix-shell line starts by saying that these three derivations will be built. So derivation is a word from the Nix universe, from the Nix glossary. There's /nix/store. There's builder.pl. There's lolcat. And then paths. Paths is also part of the Nix glossary. ACL, the Linux ACL's access control ATR, another basic Linux package, bash, the REPL, the text user interface shell, GNU binutils, bzip2 compression. So an entire Linux distribution is being downloaded packages one by one. GCC the compiler, GNU awk, file, text editor, the package that we want, which is c6, GNU grep, GNU sed, GNU make, tar. So this is the most of the GNU toolchain, which is used for building C source code. So Unix, Linux style projects that are written in the C programming language, and possibly also the C++ programming language. Math libraries, GMP, MPFR, also from the GNU project. YAML, Linux headers for glibc probably. The GNU compiler collection version 14, 2024 November. Other programming languages, Perl, the regular expression library from Perl, Ruby 3.3, compression algorithms, XZ, XLib, bzip2, libgcc, it downloads these packages from https://cache.nixos.org. Let's now prove that both c6 and lolcat are available. Let's look at the path environment variable. So the path environment variable is bash bin directory, then colon, batch elf bin directory, then colon, gcc bin colon, glibc colon, etc. So all of the individual packages have a bin directory, and the bin directories are concatenated with separator colon. Then we go into the pre-existing path environment variable, which is /usr/local/sbin /usr/local/bin /usr/ and snap. And probably if you have your directories in the home directory ~/.local/bin and ~/bin, if these directories exist, then these are also somewhere in here inside of the path environment variable inside of nix-shell. So you get access to all of the executables of your host operating system, Ubuntu 24.04 in my case, plus all of the executables that exist in the current nix-shell. So lolcat, cowsay, and their dependencies. So what does cowsay do? And if we pipe through lolcat, it applies colors. If we exit nix-shell, we're back to the default bash inside Ubuntu 24.04. There's no lolcat and cowsay there any longer. Let's say that we want a ephemeral development environment where we have the AWS Amazon Web Services CLI tools, plus we want some command line goodies. We want Midnight Commander, we want Git, and a text user interface text editor such as Emacs, NoX. Let's see first the names of the packages. How do we find out those? Let's go to nixos.org. And in here we have choose from thousands of packages, Nix packages collection, over 120,000 packages. So let's search in here. MC is Midnight Commander, the thing that we would expect. Let's see a text editor. So we want MC, we want Git, we want the AWS CLI, this thing. And we want Emacs NoX. The names of the packages are as we would expect. So MC, Git, AWS CLI2, Emacs -NoX. Let's start a ephemeral Nix shell where we have these packages installed. Okay, so there's way more packages needed by these packages and their dependencies. Python did not exist before, with the example of lolcat and cowsay. Now we have Python 3.12. Previously there was only Ruby and Perl. We have a systemd, Perl 5.40, a MySQL-like SQL server, MariaDB connector. Another compression algorithm, an extra one, Z standard, libarchive. We have curl inside the Nix shell, a SSL-TLS library, many Perl 5 modules, daemon, negotiate, cookie jar, message, file listing, etc. SQLite, time zone data, IP tables. So even more of a minimal Linux operating system. The X11 libraries, hundreds of libraries, hundreds of Perl modules. Okay, and now we're in a second nix-shell, a totally created from scratch, from zero nix-shell, with a very different list of nix packages made available inside of the nix-shell. Let's look at the path environment now, should be way longer. Okay, let's see where MC is. It works correctly, and we're still inside the home directory of the current user. So we're not inside of some sort of a root or inside of a Linux container, a Docker container, a Podman container, or inside of something very similar to a virtual machine. Okay, let's see if we have Git in here. It's in here, Emacs. So it's the no X variety, the text user only interface executable. It's in here. I searched on Google for the Nix glossary. So these are Nix programming language, Nix OS, special keywords. They have this keyword named derivation, which is a description of a build task. There's a content address, a store, there's flakes, and there's a home manager. Until this moment, whenever we wanted to enter nix-shell, we provided a long command line, nix -shell space -p or -- packages, and then the list of the packages that we want to have inside nix-shell. An alternative to this is to use nix -shell shebang. Let's go there, Ctrl D to exit nix-shell. Let's create in here a text file. So let's look at what we want. We need more than one shebang. The first one should be /usr/bin/env and then nix -shell. On the second one, we have the invocations of nix-shell. We want the list of packages to install and have available inside nix-shell. We want these. And then the following file should be interpreted by bash inside of nix-shell. So whatever follows should be valid bash command lines, bash script file. Let's see, git --help /a.txt. And let's save it. We'll put a sh extension, test.sh. Save. Okay. So we have a test.sh. We can run it with bash, or we can make it executable. /usr/bin/env nix-shell, and then the command line. Yeah, so don't run the script inside of a bash command line. Don't do bash space and then the name of the file, because bash will try to run all of the lines inside of the file. It will not handle control to /usr/bin/env and nix-shell, etc. So what we actually want to do is to make the file test.sh executable. This is done with this command line. chmod +x makes it executable, test.sh. And then you run test.sh. Because the current directory is not in the path environment variable, you need to specify a relative path, so /test.sh. And it did what we expected, which is it has created a temporary nix-shell with the needed packages inside. No errors related to Git. And let's make sure that this file has been created with the correct content. ~a.txt. And it's what we expect. So inside ~a.txt is the standard output of git --help command. Okay, so this was the second way to enter nix-shell using nix-shell shebang. And the third and final way is by using a special file named shell.nix in the current directory. I searched on Google for shell.nix. Let's look at the documentation. So this file, whenever you run nix-shell without any parameters, if in the current directory a file named shell.nix exists, this file is read, shell.nix. This file can specify the list of packages that should be available inside nix-shell. It can specify environment variables, and it can also specify command lines that should be run inside nix-shell before we are provided access to the nix-shell. So let's try to do these things. A new file. I'm not sure if copy paste actually works. Hopefully copy paste worked correctly, because it created additional lines, which probably means that there were end of line Windows style versus Unix style \r\n versus \n end of line terminators issues. Hopefully that's not the case. Okay, so let's see what it does. It defines this variable nix packages, which probably can also be defined like this. You just import the existing nix packages, whereas in here it specifies a snapshot of the packages. Says version 2405. Okay, and now we have with packages the list of the binary packages from the Nix package manager that exist in this repository, as it were. Okay, and what's important for us to customize is just the list of packages that should be installed. Basically, this is just copy paste from a relatively recent tutorial that's official by the Nix developers and the Nix project. and then you just edit the list of packages that you want installed. So we want these packages without bash. Okay, so the default text, which is the content of shell.nix from a tutorial, I have just customized the list of packages that I want to have available inside nix-shell. Let's save, Ctrl S. So the name of the file is important, shell.nix. I have saved it in my home directory. And now, if I run nix-shell, it fetches this pin, this list of binary packages, nixos-2405. Sometimes you want pinned packages, you want to know the exact versions of packages that you're going to get when you go and create the Nix shell. Sometimes you want the latest and greatest, which is what we get when we did this thing, which is the Nix shell shebang, or the long command line nix-shell -p and then a list of packages. Okay, so all of the binary packages that are required for nix-shell have been cached, downloaded inside of /nix/store. And then the environment for nix-shell has been created, whatever, the path environment variable has been created such that the packages that we want are available inside nix-shell. So different versions of MC, Git, AWS CLI2, Emacs -nox should now be available in this invocation of nix-shell. So this checksum should be different than the one that we had previously. In addition to specifying the list of packages that we want inside nix-shell, we can also specify environment variables and a list of commands that should be run previously to us entering nix-shell. So with that, we have the possibility of creating developer environments that are ephemeral. Whenever you delete the file shell.nix, you will not be able to re-enter the ephemeral development environment anymore. The binary nix packages are still going to be installed, whatever, cached inside /nix/store, but you can clean them up using the garbage collector inside Nix. So in order to remove Nix completely from your system, you should close all of your Nix shells and then run nix-gc, the garbage collector, and then uninstall completely Nix, including the daemon. Thank you.